They're trying to reverse the Muhammad Ali Act. So if you ever look at boxing and understand why Canelo made $95 million from one event, it's because of the Muhammad Ali Act. It makes these production companies disclose all their money. And that's why the UFC model is a little bit frowned upon, because they're like, the fighters aren't getting the revenue share that other sports leagues get. You look at NFL, NBA, most of them get around 50% of the revenue share. With this new league, they want to pay fighters less, have them fight more competitive fights, and make it more like the UFC. A lot of the boxers, a lot of the promoters are being like, that's criminal because you're going to take food out of the fighters' mouths.
Welcome to the Real Oshow. I'm Zachary. Joining me as always is my partner in crime, my brother Joshua.
And on today's episode, we deep dive Turki Al-Sheikh, and we round it out with a Did You Know Eminem. Enjoy. They paper getters, they want money more than they want fame shit. I swear we go so hard, we on A-list. I see my niggas prevailing. We going hard for the hand. We gonna stack that we jaded.
This is a great interview. They doing their thing.
We're going to open today's show with 2-minute takes. Joshua, what do you think about Drake's latest leak off Iceman?
One, this is the song that everyone wanted. On Iceman episode 2, he kind of teasered this song and everyone wanted it, never got it. Now, a couple weeks later, 2 random streamers got the leak, played it. Inside of it, one, I just want to say, absolute hit. And I think that this would have been on the Iceman project. And kind of the funny part of this whole thing is Drake actually called Aiden thinking that he leaked the song, which, come on. Aiden loves Drake way too much to leak a song like that without his permission. But the very interesting part was it looked like that he sneak dissed LeBron and DeRozan in the song, which are kind of 2 hot topics for him. We're his boys. Now they picked a side, and he's kind of like, fuck these guys.
I don't think this is a leak at all, actually. I don't think anything in Drake's world right now is it completely calculated. Going back to Lil Yachty's song Poland, that song got leaked. It went crazy. Then they dropped it on DSP. I think that's exactly what's about to happen here with Drake is Universal's probably blocking anything off Iceman if there's actually a project. So what he's trying to do is show that, hey, this song is viral. This song is good. The audience wants it. So then it forces Universal to then drop the song on DSP to actually get plays. Because right now, if he tried to drop a song like that, or he tries to really drop Iceman, I think Universal might put up more obstacles. So I think this leak is completely calculated. And I don't think by any means, going back to the Drake and Aiden Ross phone call, that was completely fake. Drake's a good actor. Drake was not mad at all. This whole thing is going right in Drake's direction. Everything is completely calculated.
I don't disagree with that because even Drake was texting Aiden during the Iceman 3 episode. He's obviously linking it. Aiden's listened to Iceman allegedly. So there are a lot of ties to it. When I saw the leak initially, I was like, it's probably fake because Drake was like, who the fuck are these kids? Like, do you even know them? And Aiden's like, I don't know them. It was kind of a weird thing. And it was like, they're not even big streamers in the mainstream sense. So it's like, if you were going to really leak the song, you would leak it to a Kai, an Aiden, a Speed, a XQC, somebody.
And I'm not saying he wouldn't get hacked, but I'm just saying I think this whole thing is just calculated in Drake's direction. Next topic, we have Zach Bryan versus Gavin Adcock.
Probably the most interesting thing that's happened in music in a whole week is Zach Bryan is going after Gavin Adcock because Gavin went on an interview and basically said that Zach Bryan is a shitty human. Now, there's 2 things from that. 1, everyone knows Zach Bryan is a shitty human. But 2, Zach Bryan makes good music. So no one really cares that he's a shitty person, all right? There's a lot of shitty artists out there that make great music. No one gives a fuck. But I actually gained a lot more respect for Zach because this guy was calling him out, saying he was going to whoop his ass. Zach went out and found the guy and was like, all right, let's handle some business. Like, to me, it made me just think that country music is copying hip hop once again. The Drake and Kendrick beef has blown up. Their streams have gone through the roof. Country music is kind of staying stagnant other than, you know, the top couple. And to me, this is just another way to get in the headline, to be relevant. Country music isn't relevant unless you live in the South.
Brianna Chicken Fry is up today, coming out of this viral clip that I saw on Twitter of him climbing over barbed wire fence to get in a fight. Brianna Chicken Fry was really exposing him of being a bad person and like stuff you don't really see behind the scenes of an artist. But I bet his streams do go up, and I bet Gavin Adcock's streams go up because what humans like more than anything is beef and controversy and people that are hating each other.
Is there such thing as a country music diss song? Because I'm very curious to see if we get in that realm of, are we going to see some diss tracks, or is it just going to stay like behind the scenes, let's just fight? If the country music artists are like, hey, we're not going to make diss songs, but we're going to scrap.
Yeah, I feel like country music is more of like scrap behind the scenes because the music doesn't really work of calling someone a dipshit or a dumb fuck or like making fun of his wife. Like it just doesn't work like that. Maybe I could be completely wrong, but I think it's just like You fight behind the scenes, and, wherever it leaves off, it leaves off. Last topic, we have the iPhone 13 conspiracy.
With Apple announcing the new iPhone 17, there's been a lot of conspiracy running around about the iPhone 13. Now, Apple is giving up to like $1,300 if people turn in their iPhone 13 Pro Max. And you might ask yourself, why that phone specifically? Well, there's a few things. One, it's the last phone that actually has a SIM card. None of these new phones have SIM cards. It's all digital. Two, it's one of the last phones that doesn't have Apple Intelligence, which means Apple can't go through your phone the same way it can with the AI. And it is kind of a really hot topic right now. And this conspiracy could be true. It could be that Apple wants you to get rid of your old phone. They want to be able to surveillance you more. But it also could be that they want to sell more iPhones. And right now, iPhone sales have just plummeted.
They've legit made the same phone for the last 20 years, and they expect people to just like jump when they drop a new iPhone. Like, do something different. Do something that's so left field that people are like, I fucking hate it, rather than just being like, oh, it's the same thing with a cooler camera. You remember when we were kids, we used to like love to get a new phone. If our upgrade was up, if our upgrade wasn't up, we were always trying to get a new phone. Now, as we've gotten older, and specifically me, I could give a fuck about getting a new phone unless it gives me something completely different than I don't already have. The iPhone 47 will probably be the same as the iPhone 20 at the rate it's going. So I'm going to keep my iPhone 13 and I will keep my SIM card until Apple does something better.
On today's deep dive, we are going to break down who is Turki Al-Sheikh. If you watched the Canelo Crawford fight this weekend, then you would know that Turki Al-Sheikh set this whole thing up. You saw Dana White there because of their new partnership. But really, this whole thing was orchestrated by Turki Al-Sheikh. So who is he? He's a Saudi advisor, and he's a chairman of the General Entertainment Authority in Saudi. He owns Ring Magazine, he's backed boxing mega fights, and he's formerly owned football clubs like Pyramids FC and Al Maria. But Turki's latest partnership with Dana White and TKO is to start a global boxing league. The whole goal of this is to reimagine boxing in a UFC structure. Now, that does a lot of good things for the fighters. It does a lot of bad things for the fighters. So let's kind of go through them. What the new league is promising is a cleaner ranking system, fewer belts. If you saw the Canelo Crawford fight, they both walk in with 15 belts. Like, what are those for? This isn't the WWE where they got a fucking belt for every little thing. It's dumb as hell. They're doing better show format, less downtime, more efficient fight nights. So if you watch UFC, they just pump them out back to back. Boxing, they take forever, and boxing is already more boring. They're going to develop a system. So they want to start their funnel. They're going to start a new contender series for boxing. They're going to have these steps that help build the star. So by the time they get to the new boxing series, they're already a household name. And they're trying to do more high productions, UFC, WWE style events. So to me, the new fighting league is really for the fans. This doesn't really benefit the fighters as much as the traditional boxing process goes. But the biggest news around this league is they're trying to reverse the Muhammad Ali Act. Now, this is very important because this is what's protecting the fighters. So if you ever look at boxing and understand why Canelo made $95 million from one event, it's because of the Muhammad Ali Act. So basically what it does, it makes these production companies disclose all their money. So if they made $200 million, they have to disclose it to the fighters how much money they made. Therefore, the fighters can go, I'm only fighting unless I get 40% or 50% of this thing. If they reverse the Muhammad Ali Act, the fighters don't get that visual, and then they can just be like, oh, we lost money. We're actually losing money on you type thing. And that's why the UFC model is a little bit frowned upon, because they're like, the fighters aren't getting the revenue share that other sports leagues get. If you look at NFL, NBA, NHL, most of them get around 50% of the revenue share. The owners get the other 50, the league gets whatever. They're saying basically with this new league, they want to pay fighters less, have them fight more competitive fights, and make it more like the UFC. Essentially having a unified league. A lot of the boxers, a lot of the promoters are being like, that's criminal because you're going to take food out of the fighters' mouths. Me personally, I do agree with that. But in that same breath, I'm also like, it does take a lot to build the league. Once the league is established, then the fighters can go back and say, hey, this is what we want. But nothing can work if you're paying Canelo $95 million a fight. Like, no league can surface. Like, they're not paying Joe Burrow $150 million over 1 year. that's over 6 years.
I want to add to that because it actually goes right into the Riyadh season. So this happened with Tyson Fury, really the same thing that happened to Canelo. They pretty much spent all their money that they would make on them to get them to fight. Just obviously brings awareness, brings eyes, and that's really all you need in the boxing world. And they actually lost money on Tyson Fury. I imagine they probably lost money with Canelo. But anyways, Riyadh seasons is this like Coachella, Comic-Con of Saudi Arabia. Obviously, the fight of Canelo and Crawford was in Vegas, but it doesn't matter. It still kind of goes in the same thing. They're trying to build up hype and get awareness on the event. Riyadh season's whole goal is to essentially build up Saudi Arabia's 2030 plan, get more tourism, more entertainment, and essentially more people to move there or just think better about Saudi Arabia in general. The fund that backs Riyadh seasons is over $1 trillion US. Their only goal is to make people feel better about Saudi Arabia. So that's why I do think they can pay Canelo and Tyson Fury hundreds of millions of dollars, because that is almost an investment to get people to be like, oh, I would maybe take that fight there. Oh, I would maybe go there. I would maybe go to that festival. That's all it's about. They aren't trying to make money now. All they want is to, in 8 years, be like, oh, more people are visiting here. Okay, we are the global entertainment capital of the world. So it goes right back to Turkey, Riyadh seasons, Dana White. That boxing league is 100% going to win out because they're going to build that league behind closed doors, get these big fights. They're at the top. Oh, they made $95 million, and they're going to get people to sign contracts that probably aren't favorable. That league is 100% going to work because right now you have Canelo, you have Terence Crawford, Tank Davis is about to retire and he's about to fight Jake Paul. Ryan Garcia is just off the deep end. Boxing is dying, and the only way to save it is a lot of money and structure. And that's what Turki and Dana White are going to bring. So I'm fully bullish on that league. And I'm also very bullish on Riyadh seasons and just really the Saudi entertainment fund of $1 trillion to back all of this. And at the end of the day, money always wins and people want to sign big paychecks, but it's only going to be 4 or 5 fighters that are really making money in the whole thing.
See, it's not going to be 4 or 5 fighters. It's going to be one single fighter, and it's going to be Canelo is going to be the only one who gets paid like that because TKO is a public entity, and if you think that they're just going to lose billions and billions and billions of dollars for their shareholders, that's definitely not what's going to happen.
But that's not. I'm not saying TKO is going to be the one losing.
But they are. But they're part of it. So again, the Saudis can float it for so long, but it's going to come to a point where it's like, at some point, this has to turn over profit. Like they're not. It's obviously not going to be right away, but because there's a lot of legislation, like right now. So they have the Revival Act, which is kind of the new thing that they've proposed instead of the Muhammad Ali Act. So basically, what they're saying is, and Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh are saying, the Muhammad Ali is basically like an investment killer. You cannot run a league like that. They're saying, we need all this structure kind of taken out so we can build our own structure. We've already shown that we can do it. We've already shown that people can get rich. They're going to be like, look at Conor McGregor. He's a billionaire. So you can make money off this, but the boxing league is going to be, you get what you kill. If you are a no-name, you are going to get paid like a no-name. The minimum they can pay a fighter is training for 6-7 months.
Yeah.
You got a 12-round fight. Fucking $1,300 bucks?
Yeah.
Jesus. But in that same breath, did Canelo earn fucking $10 million a round? Hell no. I would love to see the Canelo Crawford numbers, even being on Netflix. I don't know anybody who watched it. I didn't see any clips about it other than Canelo get popped one time that went viral. Like, to me, you look at Dana White courtside and you're like, bro, he's looking at this like, fuck, boxing is boring. Like, that's all I could think about. And so, yes, I do agree with you. They do need to throw money at the problem right now. But at some point, if they can get the legislation turned, that's what's gonna change the whole game.
I'm saying they're throwing money at big name fighters.
So who's a big name fighter?
Canelo,
exactly.
Tyson
Canelo.
Fury. It would have been Tank Davis.
Tyson Fury isn't under contract with them.
Tyson Fury was under contract with Riyadh seasons. He already fulfilled his 2-fight agreement.
But that's what I'm saying. He's not on the contract anymore. Like, that's how all these promotions work. As of right now, it's like you have a 3-fight deal with X promotion, right? So Oscar De La Hoya, he just called Ryan Garcia, and Ryan was like, don't call me unless it's $20 million or more. And it's like, Ryan can maybe ask for $20 million, maybe, but everyone else is like, dude, you're not going to get paid $50,000 for this fight. You know what I mean? Like, there's UFC fighters that are going out there ready to die, and it's actually like interesting. It's fun to watch. Like, boxing can be fun, but at the same time, it can also be boring. It's like a chess match. So To me, they have a very uphill battle. I think if anybody can fix boxing, it's going to be Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh. But I will say, at the end of the day, they have a very much an uphill battle. And if you think these promotions are just going to fold over and be like, oh, you guys can take all the good fighters, it's absolutely not going to be the case. We're going to round out our show with Did You Know? Zachary, did you know that Eminem is the only person to have a #1 movie, a #1 album, and a #1 single all at the same time? The story starts in November of 2002 when his movie 8 Mile dropped. It shocked Hollywood, opening up at #1 in the box office with over $51 million in its first weekend. The film went on to gross $242 million worldwide on a $41 million budget. And for all you movie heads out there, you have to double your movie budget to actually make money. At the same time, his album 8 Mile debuted #1 on the Billboard 200, selling more than 700,000 copies in the first week. Those are nuts numbers. And the album gave us one of the greatest Eminem songs of all time, Lose Yourself. And that song was #1 on the Billboard 100 for 12 straight weeks. Should have probably been on there for 54 straight weeks, honestly. What makes this story even crazier, 8 Mile was his second #1 album of the year. Who puts out numbers like that? Only Eminem. And now, 20 years later, Eminem is still a top 10 most streamed artist, and he barely drops anymore.
Do you think the 8 Mile movie helped Eminem's legend grow?
Absolutely, because here's the thing. This movie only came out 3 years after his debut album. So you have to think about that. How many artists in their third year could go out and have a #1 movie, have a #1 song, and a #1 single? Like, that is actually unfucking heard of.
But wasn't his first project going crazy as well?
It's not very fair for me to be like, oh, it's only his third year, because he had dropped the Marshall Mathers LP, he dropped the Slim Shady LP, and then earlier that year he dropped Eminem Show. So he already had 3 absolute fucking bangers. He already had a cult following, and that's how they were able to do this semi-autobiography of him kind of coming up. And then if you notice that the 50 Cents of the world try to do it, a lot more people are going to come back and be like, I want to do it. Like, I thought to myself, I'm like, damn, how has Drake not had a fucking movie out? Because Drake could definitely act in his own movie.
Yeah, I was actually doing some research because I thought when you said he was the only person, I'm like, he definitely is the only person, but I was like, I wonder how close 50 Cent got. So 50 Cent had a #1 project, and his movie went #4. So it was also pretty close. And the Get Rich Die Trying is also a legendary movie as well.
Do you want to know who the closest person to ever get to Eminem is?
It's probably Lil Dicky.
It was actually J-Lo, who had a #1 movie, a #1 album, but didn't have the #1 single. So J-Lo is the only one to ever even come close to Eminem, but Eminem still reigns title. I mean, it's actually mind-boggling to me to think about you having a #1 movie, a #1 album, and then a #1 song. Like, those are just damn near impossible to do.
I don't want to put down anything Eminem did, because obviously we're from Michigan, so Eminem is an absolute legend. But only back in the day could that happen. That'll never happen again.
I think it could happen today. 100% it could, because here's my thing.
It'd have to be Taylor Swift.
It'd be Taylor Swift, or it'd be a Drake. But you know who else could probably do it? I bet you Kendrick Lamar could do it right now. You want to know why? The machine would push it. But that's
Taylor
my point.
Swift would be pushed by the machine.
Anybody who's #1 was pushed by the machine. Eminem was pushed by the machine.
Of course, but that's what I'm saying. Only back in the day could you do that, when the internet wasn't as much of a thing where they could shove it down your throat on the radio. Obviously, people are buying CDs back then. You could pay, 99 cents to buy the song, and it's like you probably only had 15 songs on your phone.
Do you
so
understand
of course you're
how
going to listen
impressive
to
that
it.
is, though? But like, that makes it even more impressive to me that Eminem sold 700,000 albums in the first week. 700,000 people got out of their house, drove to a fucking place, went and bought the CD for $20.
But do
you know how crazy that is?
That is crazy, but that's how it used to be.
But that's my point.
But it's not as
back
crazy.
Back then, it's harder to sell, though. That's what I'm trying to say. Back then, it's harder to sell.
If you were pushed by the machine, I think it was much easier to sell, because you only maybe knew 2 people that were dropping music, and you're like, okay, I have $30. Which one do I want more? I actually think it was easier if you were pushed by the machine back then to sell. It is much harder to sell 730,000 in today's market.
Could not be fucking further from the truth, dude. It is much easier because the accessibility. Everything is accessibility. it's harder to go out and buy a CD when I have to fucking go to a car, drive there, wait in line, get the thing, go back, take it home. Now I have it. Nowadays, it's like if there's even like the remote, if I even like someone slightly, I go to their album and I download their album. If I even like them slightly, I'm downloading their whole album with a click of a button. Cost me $0. So to me now,
but I imagine that's probably not the same.
But it's a lot easier to fudge the streams now because everyone's doing bundles. So now I don't have to leave my house. I can just buy a hoodie of the person that causes an album sale.
But people aren't selling 730,000 first week anymore. Like no one is doing that. No one.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my point. Is those numbers back in the day were much higher. Were much higher than they are right now. There's the music back to boxing. Music is so fragmented now with streaming that like you could think the person is the biggest artist and they have 20,000 followers on Instagram. They could be your favorite artist. Back in the day, that was not a thing. That's why I think and why my opinion is yes, Eminem was pushed by the machine. Him selling 730K back then is impressive, but selling 730K today to me is a much greater achievement and way harder. Don't care if the machine pushes you or not.
Drake will sell 700K first week in his Iceman. Like Taylor Swift will sell $1 million in her first week, and so it's like, to me, yes, it was a lot less. It was a lot less fragmented. There was a lot less choice. You only had 3 choices, so you had to just pick one of the 3. Right now, there's 5 million choices, and you're like, oh, I guess I'll pick this one. So I hear you on that, but in the same breath, the label can still push you. If they still wanted to get 700,000 units sold on a Kendrick Lamar, they definitely could because they would sell them in bundles. If Travis Scott can still sell 500, 600,000 in the first week, you know something is like it's all fudged up a little bit.
But then also you go back to the point where you're like, okay, we know damn well Travis Scott didn't sell 600K when no one is listening to his new project, like no one. So there you can do a little mathematics with it, like Doechii winning every award. I've yet to hear somebody playing Doechii walking down the road or being like, hey, someone put that Doechii on. So it's like, it's very easy to add it up. Like people are listening to probably 6 artists for real. And I think that's why in today's day and age, it's much harder to sell like that. But shout out Eminem. That's probably the craziest achievement. And unless Drake and or Taylor Swift does it, it'll never be broken.
And if you made it that far, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Until next Tuesday. Peace.
About to get all this dough. Me and no fuck niggas know. I swear to God we the ghosts. This ain't the story they told. Man, if you know, then you know. I never had to tell my dogs that we on rough for greatness. They paper getters, they want money more than they want fake shit. I swear we go so hard, we on A-list. I see my niggas prevailing. We going hard for the hand. We gonna stack till we jaded. I just told my niggas that we on a mission. Yeah. It's gonna be hard to get it.